Okay, let's see here. Waiting to make sure we're live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, there we go. There we go. Okay, how's everybody doing this morning? Let's see who's in the house. I know is in the house. Felicia's in the house. Gilliande's in the house. Arnold's in the house. Lynn's in the house. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. We'll give the people who are kind of sleeping in a little bit this morning a little chance to get in here or get their coffee together. In the meantime, I'm also going to take my little clock right here and I'm going to set it up here in the top window. And we're going to set it for, go down one more minute. Let's see, it's 8:16 right now. We're going to set it right there for 13 minutes from now. Okay, and the reason we're doing that is because there's a couple of things that are happening at 8:30. We got some numbers coming out, but then I found out Alvaro just sent me a text letting me know that Trump's going to be interviewed on CNBC. Oh, there he is. There's the man himself. Hey, welcome, Alvaro. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, okay, yeah, let's go. Let's go. So anyhow, yeah, Trump's going to be interviewed. There's not a lot that's happening in the market right now because we had so many things that we're waiting on to make decisions about. So basically, we're flat. We're flat across here. We're flat on crude. We're flat on the metals. We're flat on the VIX. We're flat on the bonds, and we're flat on the dollar. So some things are a little down, some things are a little up, but all in all, nothing to see here, guys, right now. We're flat. And here's the reason why we're flat. I'll go over these numbers again. Okay, so what we're looking at. All right, so, well, before I actually go over those numbers, let's do this. Let's take a look at the heat map yesterday, and then I want to look at Netflix because I gave you guys a great call out on Netflix yesterday, and I want to review that because, as I said before, one of the things I think that's very important to do is retrospectives. Look back at what you had as far as like opportunities. Did you maximize? Did you take those opportunities? Were you right? Were you wrong? Those kind of things. That's what a retrospective is, and that will only make you better in your trading. At the end of the day, reflect on what you did right and what you did wrong. So that's what we're doing here. We're doing it right at the beginning. We're kind of reflecting on what went right, what went wrong. So let's take a look at the heat map yesterday. This is what I wanted to look at. Actually, was this. Okay, so for the most part yesterday, the market was, it was in a bullish kind of a trend, kind of going up slightly throughout the day. We had the initial drop off. We kind of talked about this in the pre-market, and then we just kind of melted up all day long. Initial drop off and melted up all day long. So, but the bull bear spread, the bulls kind of owned the market. But we also look at the heat map as far as like what happened on the market. It wasn't that great of a day. And you know what? It's actually, and that's kind of where we're at right now with kind of this small move right now. And the reason being, and this is why I'm going over this, the reason being is because we got major news on the agenda, and until the market actually gets the hold of that major news, it's not going to do a whole heck of a lot on that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to move my little clock down here out of the way because it's in my way up there. So we're going to move it down here. All right. What I want to do right now is I want to take a look at, okay, yeah, we're going to take a look at Netflix from yesterday. So this is what I called out to you guys yesterday. This was the pre-market yesterday. And so we had this incredibly tight consolidation range. And I was like, boy, this energy is really building on Netflix, guys. Pay attention to it. If we get over it, then the bulls that finally won, look for it to go long, okay? But we get underneath of this thing, it's definitely a short. And, obviously it's a bear flag. Bear flags have about a 65% chance of breaking to the short side. So what ended up playing out? Let's take a look. To me, this was the call of the day as far as the pre-market goes. If you had been paying attention to what I told you about in the pre-market and you grabbed off of this candle right here, that is a very bearish candle This is off of the 15-minute chart. The 15-minute chart, I'll get my sell signals from. I'll enter in off of a 1-minute chart myself. So I would look for a pullback into one of these resistance, under one of these, what used to be a support zone into a resistance zone. And then that was your play right there. And this was the best play of the day. So that's what we got. We got that out of the lightning round, by the way. All right. Enough of the retrospective. Let's go back into the report. Let's see what's on the docket for today, okay? So once again, thank you, Alvaro, for bringing me up to speed on the fact that Trump is going to be interviewed at 8:30 today. I got my little alarm clock set up over here in the right-hand corner now, so we'll know about that. But we also have some numbers coming out at 8:30 as well. All right, let me go ahead and put I use dark mode because I am constantly on my computer. I got to protect my eyes. So now we're in the light mode, and actually you can see a little bit better. The ceasefire is expiring today, and that's the reason why the stock market is really just kind of sitting in a tentative state right now. There's not, until we figure out what is going to happen with this, there's not too much. This is the biggest thing over top of the stock market right now. So until we know what's going on with that, and that is actually what's driving energy. So this whole first 2 points right here from my pre-market report, they actually tie together. We need to know what is happening with energy. So we need to know what's happening with this ceasefire. More than likely, we're thinking that we're going to either get an extension or whatever. Nobody really believes, I don't believe that anybody believes that Trump wants to, the administration, I want to just use the administration as a name. The administration wants to actually escalate things anymore. I think they're looking for a way out, but it could escalate, and that's the reason why you saw the title for this live presentation in regards to it could flip on its head. And we know that, right? So it's a very tentative situation right now. We have earnings reports that just came out. United Health actually did great. They're up 7%. I think Raytheon is actually up about 4% right now. So the 6% move was actually for United Health. So United Health is actually doing pretty well. And Triple M is actually having a little bit of a pullback on that. So we can look at that later. At 10 o'clock, we have Kevin Warsh hearing today. If he starts coming in and it's looking like he's going to be nominated, and then he starts talking with very hawkish talk, that actually could have a reflection on the stock market or dovish talk. I don't think the dovish talk would have as much of an impact as hawkish talk. And the reason why I say that is just because we're pressing up so tight against those resistance zones as we speak right now. So, and then here's the other thing right here, 8:30 today, we have the March retail sales coming out. And we also got a CEO transition happening. I'm not so sure that this is actually a hugely impactful event. Tim Cooks is stepping down, but he is going to be a member of the board. John Turnus, he's taking over. He's coming in from engineering. Maybe that means that Apple will actually become more innovative again. Who knows? This could actually end up being good for Apple. We'll see how it goes. Anyhow, we'll watch that. That's also part of the reason why we got this alarm clock set here for, and it's up, it says now it's about 5 minutes away from that time. And this is the reason why I moved the pre-market report to 8:15, so we could actually watch those numbers. And then as of 7:30 a.m., we don't need to bother with that. Let's go ahead. We'll take a look at the FinViz futures and the heat map. But once again, this could actually change really quickly. So in the FinViz futures, well, we already actually did look at that. Actually, let's look at the heat map. So I always leave this heat map on. I'm going to take this actually off screen, guys. So I'll watch this for you, okay? So it's off screen. And I always leave this actually on with the gray area so I can remind you that you don't need all that extra noise. We're actually looking for who are the actual biggest winners and the biggest losers going into the pre-market, because that's where, that's where the stories are, and that's possibly where there's opportunity. I call it trading on the edge. If something has moved outside of its range, that actually presents excellent opportunity, right? So here we are, Amazon. Amazon had a great story yesterday, and it popped up right after hours. I mean, 1600 hours, Amazon ripped up, and it ripped up on a news of a deal with Anthropic that it was something about like $25 billion, I think it was investing in Anthropic, but then Anthropic would use Amazon Web Services for the next 10 years for $100 million. So it was locking in a deal with Anthropic. I think that's huge news. That's a huge catalyst, guys. We need to keep this one on the radar for today, without a doubt. Other ones, as I said, 3M reported earnings. It looks like it's pulling back from earnings. So that's that. GE looks like that one's pulled back a little bit. And then United Health, as I mentioned, United Health is having a very nice up day. United Health has actually pulled back quite a bit, so that might be something to actually take a look at into a trade. Now, let's do this. Let's go back into my pre-market report, make sure I'm keeping on track with the agenda. This stuff is a little new to me, so I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping things kosher for you guys. We also have upcoming earnings, and this is another thing that's kind of, holding the market back a little bit. And the reason why is probably because of this guy right here. Tesla's reporting earnings after the close tomorrow. Boeing is reporting earnings. I think that's going to be kind of interesting. We also got Intel. Intel's becoming pretty big deal. It's been a market volume leader in the pre-market almost every morning, probably for about the last 3-4 months, maybe even the last 6 months. So we also have, all of these have reported earnings today, and then after the close today, we have United Airlines. That's gonna be interesting to look at in regards to energy. Capital One, possibly for how is the consumer doing in borrowing money and stuff like that. So there's a couple of things that are going on with the earnings. Let's go ahead and take this now. Oops. There. Let's go ahead and take this off, and we're down to the last 1 minute and 45 seconds. So what are we going to do, guys? We're going to mark the 2-minute high and the 2-minute low on the SPY, get our levels for trading, if this is actually impulsive. So let's see what we're looking at here. Let's go ahead and change this to the SPY. And you guys know that when we've done this in the past, we have, but this number, it may not be as impactful. We'll see, right? We'll see. Let's just see. All right. So here we are on the SPY. We're waiting for this number. We're going to give it 2 minutes to see how it actually forms. Right now in the SPY, looks like in the 1 minute time frame chart, you can see that where the price is underneath of all of the moving averages. Okay, it's up slightly now. The slope of the 5 and the 10 are neutral. The 20 and the 50 are actually down, and then the 200 is up. But this is a 1 minute time frame. This is for scalping. And we are at 39 seconds to the 1 minute mark. So let's just hang in there. I'm going to check you guys out in the chat. What do you guys think? Do you think that we're going to see a big move on this in regards to the numbers? Let's see here. We could also pull this up. And once again, I have this all set for my eye protection. There you go. 1 minute from now, we're going to get the numbers. 1 minute and counting. So how do you think the SPY is going to react? I'm not asking you, do you think the numbers are going to be higher or lower? I'm asking you, you think the SPY is going to go up, or you think the SPY is going to go down? Let's take a quick poll. Or nothing. Maybe it's a nothing burger, right? Waiting for the numbers to come in. It's 8:29 right now. 8:29, waiting for the numbers. Aisha says SPY is going to go down. Retail sales, that's a pretty nice number on retail sales. Right here, look at that. It's over 1.4, it's over 1.7, it's over. Retail control month over month, I don't know what that exactly means, but 0.7, it looks like it's a good number. Retail sales month over month in March, 1.9. So that's a good number. The economy, people are continuing to spend, swipe that credit card, right? Swipe that credit card, as the Maverick likes to say. I love the Maverick on YouTube. Anyhow, is that actually good for the market, or is it bad for the market? That's the question, because sometimes the good numbers are actually bad for the market. I was waiting to see if we get a number on this ADP employment change. That was 8:15. It did come in 57.5, I guess. Okay. Anyhow, we'll skip that. We're going to go back over to the charts. Okay. So let's get back to the charts. This is what I do best. I do charts. I don't do that kind of stuff. So it looks like our initial move on that is actually, well, it's a doji. I wouldn't call that upside or downside, and I would call that pretty much a nothing reaction right now. Let's see. Let's give it one more minute. So the 1 minute printed, we basically got from 7:11:25 to 7:11:50, which is nothing. So, and by the way, guys, if you wanna know where a timer is in the in Thinkorswim, it has a timer right here. So on Thinkorswim right now, it's 8:31:45. So, and here's our first candle, which is a doji. The second candle is actually coming underneath of the doji, so that is implying that it's actually going to probably go down. Congratulations, Aisha. It wasn't a major move, but it looks like you called it. Honestly, guys, that's not worth marking. That little zone right there, that's not a reaction. That's not worth marking. So we're going to move on with our day and go ahead and get to work. So I'm going to change this back to a 15-minute time frame. And what's next on the agenda is we're actually going to take a quick overview of the SPY and see where we're at. So looking in here on the, let's go into the higher time frame chart. And what I'm doing here is I'm actually going to take you out to the weekly. I've already done this a number of times, but we are melting across the top, right? We're melting across the top just like we did here. See here, we melted across the top and we kind of rode the top. And right here, we actually did the same thing, melted across the top and rode the top right there. And so we did it here as well before we had a pullback. And right now we're right there at the top. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't bust out of this this channel, but we're in two channels right now. We're in a weekly channel, and this is a very strong weekly channel, and it is held for a very long time. So breaking that channel is serious business, right? But at the same time, we're also in a daily channel, and this is your daily channel right here. So right here, this is your daily marks on the daily channel right there. And this is your doji right here. You can see the doji is pushing right up against that daily channel. Here's your low, here's your high, and it's stuck right in between there. So trying to get out of that, that's serious business, guys. It's a very serious business. Let's go back to a 24-hour time frame on this chart, and you can see that we're pressed against it. We're not able to break out above it. Now, you could always see a reaction like this. You could see eventually, if great news happened and say this war was determined to be over and Iran's going to let inspectors in and they're not going to enrich uranium and all that, you could see this. Boom, come out of this, and it just completely breaks out, right? And if you see that, that's a warning sign that it could be a problem down the road into the future, because that's what you call the final move, is when it does that sort of like final rip like that. You actually, if you're wanting to stay long on this, you love to see it kind of just continue to go sideways like this at a 45-degree angle. We had major impulsive moves, 3 times, but now we've been basically just inching up. And we can see that better on the 4-hour time frame chart. So if I go over here to the 4-hour time frame chart and take a look right here, you can see that we've just been inching up right here, just melting up right across here and staying into this little bit of a trend right here. And we're just waiting for a decision. We're waiting for a decision. And so there's not a lot to do. So what that tells you, though, is this: right now, until there is that decision, until we get a better understanding on a long-term time frame, you got to be quick in and quick out. You need to take your profits. At least that's the way I'm playing it. That's the way I'm playing it. So let's take a look and get your levels on the SPY. So your top level is, before I do that, let me give you your pain thresholds for the SPY as well. So let's see there. That's right here. So your pain thresholds, this is pretty interesting too, by the way, guys. So here's your pain threshold. You can see we got a huge on the daily today at 693, but then you also have some other put walls here at 695 and 700. You got a call wall at 710. 715 and 720. So really, this is the area right here where the market maker is going to be wanting to keep the money right here. Okay, so your max pain level for today is 701. I'm not sure that it gets all the way down into there, but if it kind of hangs right around here in between the 710 level and the 700 level, the market maker, I think, would actually be pretty happy with that. If we go over here to the weekly time frame, we could take a look at that. And that actually, I think, is incredibly informative, because if you look at that, look at this put wall. Man, oh man, 700. Man, that's a huge payout right there. Bad news comes and we actually end up down below that 700. Okay, you could see a gamma squeeze going down to the downside for sure. And also that would actually benefit the market maker. We wouldn't have to pay any of that 700 out. But if he actually can bring it down to somewhere around 695 by the end of the week, or even this 700 or near that 700, then he's going to have a much lower payout on that. So 700 is I would call it almost like a magnet. I would be watching for the possibility of a pullback into that magnet. So that's it for that. Let's go back to the charts. The charts say that the top of the range is 712.50, and then we have a bottom pivot low down here at 708.79. You have your 20-period moving average. It doesn't seem to have actually done much right now. Price is actually spiking over it, spiking under it, spiking over it, spiking under it. It seems to me that the price is somewhat following, if you look at it right now, it's somewhat following this 50-day moving average. You can see right through here, and then your 50-day kind of has that same trend. So if you watch that 50-day moving or 50-period moving average, my mistake, 50-period moving average on the hourly, and that's 708.77, and it looks to me like it looks like we're trying to actually have a convergence there between the 20-period and the 50-period moving average. And we also, we have that pivot right there at 708. Let's go over to the 15-minute time frame. I'll give you the pre-market high and the pre-market lows. Pre-market high is the same thing that I've already gave you, 712.78. Your pre-market low is 709.50. You're sitting right in the middle of a balance range right now, it looks like. Well, yes. You're sitting in the middle of the balance range. We're actually above yesterday's high, but we're sitting in the middle as far as the pre-market goes of a balance range. Here's your balance range in the pre-market. Here's where your price is at, right here in the middle. So there's not a lot you can do with this. It's basically in balance. This actually insinuates that there's a bull-bear fight happening right at the outset. So there, you need to sit on your hands unless this actually resolves itself prior to. I mentioned yesterday, that I give you market profiles of what the profile looks like in the pre-market prior to the open, but then sometimes as the things happen, it'll actually end up changing its profile. It looks like it's kind of having a little bit of a negative reaction right now. It's going down somewhat on this 15-minute time frame. It's a pretty good bar right there. We have a snapback low that it's actually testing right now at the 710.50. So if we can get down below that snapback low, and if it actually at the open is sitting down here around 709.50, I would actually look for it to do a bounce into there. And then if it's weak, then you could actually look for a short onto that. So that would actually be the play. But right now it's sitting in the middle and there's not a lot to do with it. All right. From there, let's go ahead and let's actually take a look at the dashboards. And before I take a look at the dashboards, actually, let me do this. Let me turn up the numbers so that you can see the numbers a little bit better. I don't have the mobile dashboard that I can show you today because having some kind of technical difficulty connecting my phone with the computer, and it happens from time to time. So let's see, give it a chance to change, and here we go. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at the dashboards. As we said, everything is pretty much flat right now. So here we are. And let's go ahead and shift this from up to down. And so your Dow is actually up a little bit. It's leading the way. NASDAQ is the next highest. Gold is actually pulling back a little bit. Nothing substantial. We're all under 1%, so nothing substantial to see here. Moving on. The VIX is up slightly, but nothing to talk about. The dollar is up slightly, flat to down. We do have the, not sure which one that is, ZN, the 10 or the 20. That's the 10-year. I believe that's the 10-year right there. The 10-year is actually moving down. All right. Going down to the next. ETF markets, nothing to see on our watch lists. Okay, so on the S&P sectors, XLV is actually leading the way. So that's a little bit of, and that's probably because of the United Health thing. So I wouldn't call that necessarily a defensive move. SMH is actually up in the leaders. So XLY is in the leaders. So I would actually attribute that to XLH. I mean, UNH, United Health, XLRE, XLP. So it looks to me like it's a little bit, it has a little bit of a bullish posture going into the pre-market. So we're going to go with the bullish posture. Let's go to slightly bullish, right? So USO is slightly up. Okay, so that's interesting to see. It was kind of flat to down yesterday. SK, you called that out very well yesterday. You said that USO would probably pull back. It did pull back because it was up between 5 to 7% in the pre-market, and during the day it only held to about 3 to 5%. XLB once again is leading the way. Let's do this. Let's open this up a little bit more so we can see everything. Now, your metals are actually down somewhat. Silver is leading the way down, and GDX and GLD is also down. And so that's implying that we do have some inflation risk out there. It's also down in all time frames. If we look on the weekly percent, the silver and the gold is actually down a little bit, kind of leading the way down. You look over here, USO is having a pretty good week, up almost 5% up on the week. So that's always nice to see. These guys right here, even though they're down on the bottom of the pack right here, they're flat. They're actually up in every single one of the time frames. IGV, this is the one we've been paying attention to. This is the software sector. It was up, I think, 20% or something like that last week. It's actually put in a pretty good day yesterday, and so we should actually take a look at that today. All right, going into the next, Mag 7. What's happening with Mag 7? Guys, got to have Amazon on the watch list today. It has a catalyst. It's up. You could actually still play the fade on this. Right now, it is fading in the time frames, so we need to watch that. Tesla, I'm not sure Tesla's going to do a whole heck of a lot today. It reports tomorrow. So anyhow, Tesla's up. It's down for the week, giving back 2%. Meta's giving down almost 3% for the week. Apple, looks like I'm not getting a number for that for the week, but it's only down 0.6% on its news. As I said, I'm not so sure that news is actually any kind of catalyst. Microsoft has been one to watch. It had a great week last week. It's also part of the IGV, but it really was down yesterday, and you can see that it's down for the week. But it actually, I think Microsoft has some opportunity, so keep an eye on Microsoft, guys. Going to the next one, the high volume leaders. Let's see who they are. High volume leaders, Beyond Meat. Look at this, Beyond Meat. So if you like Beyond Meat, I don't trade anything that's under $5, but this is $1.43. Man, can you remember? I think this was up in the hundreds at one time. What a drop that was. NVIDIA is the next up, but Beyond Meat is actually double NVIDIA. So it's getting some very great activity. If you like trading small penny, almost penny stocks, then that one's for you, okay? Up in every time frame. I would not try to actually short this. I would actually look for pullbacks and going into the long unless it actually changes this profile right here. NVIDIA is having a little bit of a pullback in the more recent time frames. It's had a pretty good, was pretty flat for this week, but had a good week last week. Plug, another one, 3.2, $3.20, up 15% on the week. It's flat today. It's a volume leader. It was up 17% from the open yesterday. So, this is a number that I track right here rather than the percentage gain. This actually shows from the time that the bell opens what ends up happening. Intel from the bell opening yesterday was a sell-off. It's also a volume leader, but it's actually pulling back, and it actually had a pretty bad day yesterday, and it's down for the week. But Intel has actually been a stock that's been doing pretty much consistently going up. Let's look at some of the other weekly leaders on this chart right here. So we look at Poet up 18%. And is there anything? Oh, this NVITS here, NVTS. This is actually getting a lot of play. It's up 7% today, 7% for the week. It was up 8% from the open yesterday. So there's a couple of stocks there to pay attention to. Guys, if you want to take a screenshot of that, I'm getting ready to pull it off. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Want to see our gap ups. So here's our gap ups. Let's go ahead and sort this by the gap up column. We already talked about Beyond, NVITS. We already talked about it. APLD. This one has consistently been on the gap up chart, so you might want to watch this one. Sound. Once again, the idea that money is actually flowing back into these types of stocks, into risk-on types of stocks. So these stocks here, I would actually pay attention to. OPEN, Open, ONDS. Marvell, they signed a deal with Google. They have a great catalyst right now. They were up 5% on the week. They're up almost 2% in the pre-market. This looks like a possible continuation play, guys. Pay attention to Marvell. And then Intel is up 2%. And once again, Intel is actually, as I said before, Intel's actually been running up quite a bit recently. So it's something to pay attention to. What's our gap downs? And then we're going to get into the lightning round. So here we are with the gap downs. If you guys have any requests for charts, let me know. I'll try to get to them. It's 8:47. We seem to be moving along pretty well. Looks like GE is a gap down. I wonder if that's an earnings play. We'll take a look at that and see if there are earnings. But they're down almost 5%. I think we talked about that in the pre-market. AXTI is down 9%. TSCO is down almost 6%. Triple M is down. This is Alaska Airlines. Okay, so so here you go. So this is actually probably going to give us a bias on the United Airlines because it's probably having a reaction to the fact that energy prices have been up so much, right? Let's take a look at what's on the earnings right now. These are dynamic. Some of these things are dynamic watch lists. This is some of the things that I actually help people learn how to do in Thinkorswim on my consultations that I have. I've been enjoying the consultations that I've had with a lot of the people that are even on this call. And I'm looking forward to one on Thursday with somebody I've been talking to. So here we go on the earnings today. United Health. Oh, here we go. Let's sort this. Let's sort this from high to low rather than low to high. So high to low, United Health, must have really killed earnings. DHI, this is kind of interesting. We're struggling with the idea that we might end up with interest rates aren't going to go down. It's a possibility they could even go up. And here you go, DHI. This is really interesting. DHI is up. We're going to have to take a look at this chart because I think DHI for a chart has actually been down somewhat. Cleveland Cliffs is up slightly. The rest of them are all kind of, I don't really pay attention to things that are stuck in the middle. I play off the edges, guys. That's where your opportunity is. We already talked about TSKO. So there it is. So GE is an earnings play today. It's down in all the time frames. What's interesting to me is that GE and Triple M, those are actually defensive plays, and they did not play out well according to earnings. So that's kind of interesting. So your money may not want to flow into those defensive plays if the market should become somewhat defensive. So there's a takeaway from that. All right, I'm going to move into the lightning round, guys. I need to change the charts back from, you know, that really high font down to a lower font because it's crazy looking when I'm throwing it out there on 20 charts, okay? I put it on the higher font just so you can see a little bit better. All right, when we get these lower fonts in, we'll go ahead and we'll take a look on the lightning round. Guys, I'm actually showing you this. I haven't done this before. I'm showing you this now on a 4-hour time frame. And the reason why I'm doing that is I really wanted to get a better idea about what's actually looking good on as far as like swing longs. So let's take a look at this really quick. I'm going to run through this really super fast, and then I'm going to go into like the hourly time frame. But this is a 4-hour time frame chart. This is more for you guys who might be thinking about swing trading. If we look at Apple, Apple is actually, here's the recent highs right here. It's busting out of a regression channel. It's actually coming in and retesting those highs. This is very bullish for Apple. So that looks bullish for Apple. Look at AMD. AMD has just been walking straight up into this resistance. That is bullish. It's then actually put in a little bit of a, here, let me pull this back some. It's put in a little bit of a consolidation underneath of this trend line right here. That trend line is a weekly trend line. So that busts, that could be significant for AMD. So we could be looking for an explosion on AMD. But if you look on this also, on the 4-hour time frame chart, actually, let me turn this arrow down just a little bit. On the 4-hour time frame chart, it's actually walking right up that 20-period moving average. If you wanted to get in on this, you could actually put an alert off of that 20-period moving average and actually play off of that. You lose the 20-period moving average, there goes your swing. But it's already been moving for quite a distance, so it is a possibility we could be looking for a little bit of a pullback into this before we actually looking at a long on this one. So be careful with AMD. It is setting up for a possible explosion if it gets up above there, up above the recent high. On Amazon, Amazon's putting in a little bit of a consolidation and a flag. It did have a rip up. It's been consistently walking across here. It also has been holding that 20-period moving average. Nice support on the 50-period moving average. Boeing actually was looking pretty weak right there. It needed to break that trend line. It broke it, and now it's actually walking up right here. It's kind of curving over a little bit too, though, as you can see. So you got a little bit of a curved top on this, and Boeing actually reports earnings, so be careful with Boeing right now. I would actually hold off on Boeing because Boeing is actually testing this trend line right here, which is a weekly trend line. That's what gold means for my charts, weekly trend line. Bloom Energy, I can't say enough about Bloom Energy. It was in this slight downtrend on a weekly trend line. It busted out of this, and it didn't give anybody any chance to actually get back. It did give you one chance, and then after that, it ripped up. Bloom Energy, if you like trading in the stratosphere, Bloom Energy is for you. But Bloom Energy above the recent high is a continuation play. Bloom Energy below here, which is around the 200, I showed you that yesterday, that actually is a pullback play, a fade play. We got Coin. Coin is pressing into this 214 number on the 4-hour time frame chart. That's significant. It's at 211 right now, but if it pulls over that 214, Coin has a second run up, maybe up into the 250 area. Coin is one to pay attention to. GDX pulled out of this downtrend right here. It's now kind of consolidating. You are looking at GDX right now. To me, GDX is actually, looks like it's in a little bit of a bearish rising wedge. Bearish rising wedges usually play out like this. Okay, so you could actually play it on the pullback, but you don't want to get into it now. However, sometimes bearish falling wedges actually go the opposite way, and when it does, it's very explosive. So pay attention to that. But that is you can mark that pattern on your charts on the 4-hour time frame chart. Google has been walking up this regression channel right here ever since around the beginning of April. Continues to walk up it. It looks like it's losing it slightly, but it's consolidating. It's not having any pullback. It looks like the 50-period moving average is coming up to support it. So how are we doing on time? 8:54. I want to get into your hourly, so let's see what else we got. Hood, very interesting, 85.5. It's right now at 91.8. It has a very nice consolidation. That's a beautiful bull flag on the 4-hour time frame chart above a recent high, and you actually got your next step up, second leg up on Hood. So watch Hood. Meta's continue to walk right up and right into that upper resistance zone right here. You get above 700 and it looks like Meta's a go, but Meta's going to struggle for a while to get above 700. It looks like every one of these stocks, when you really kind of take a look at them, they all have these kind of consolidation tops right here. They're all waiting. We're all waiting for this news right here when you think about it. We're waiting for this news, and this news is going to drive the market lower or higher. So basically, that's the same thing that you're looking at. However, NVIDIA really just looks like it's just in this pretty much a uptrend right here. It's not a bearish falling wedge. It looks like it's just an uptrend channel, but it's now running into this resistance zone right here, and it's probably at the end of its run right now. Silver's in a triangle consolidation right here, guys. And these triangle consolidations, this is going to actually determine the next direction for this as well. So there's your triangle consolidation on silver. Oracle is looking very bullish here. This is what you want to see. You want to see this right here, a consolidation right below a major number like that, right below a major trend. Bullish on Oracle, especially you take out this high right here, the most recent high. I'm not giving you guys the numbers. You can look on your charts yourself and you can see the most recent high, but I am letting you know that the trend right now on that is actually looking very strong. It's a little far removed from the 50 period on this 4-hour time frame chart, but it's actually putting in a nice consolidation. This is actually a bear flag consolidation on the 1-hour chart, but it's actually very bullish on the 4-hour chart, which is why I wanted to actually start with this. So if it pulls out of that bear flag consolidation on the 1-hour chart, you could see it run back down into these support areas and then actually once again come back for a second try at the bust out. Oracle looking somewhat bullish. The SPY is just continuing to hold this zone. It wants to break through. It's trying to break through. It's continued to melt up ever since here. And I'm just not sure. I'm not sure it's got the power, but you know what? The news is right. Then that's actually, you got to play it long. Okay. And I don't care how long we've been going for, 15 straight days or 14 straight days on the NASDAQ and records. I don't care. If the news is bullish and it actually shows you bullish price action, you got to go bullish, okay? Tesla's putting in a consolidation right here, right at the 38.2 that I've marked on this. It's actually holding that 20-period moving average. It's a little extended from the 50. It's busted out of this downtrend right here. Honestly, it looks like Tesla is trying to put in what I call a change of character. The character was bearish all along. It's medium right now. It has not totally changed its character, but earnings actually can completely change the tune on that. TSM has been in this uptrend channel. It bounced over, it bounced under. It's now in a bear flag hourly consolidation. The moving averages are turning down. Looks to me like TSM might want to come back and retest this area right around here, right around the 350 to 340 area. That's the bottom of that long-term uptrend, and that will be strong support. Visa, this is a bust out play here, guys. Look at Visa right here. It's busting out of this long-term, this weekly downtrend line right here. Wouldn't really call it long-term. Has a little bit of an uptrend right here. It looks like you got yourself a channel right here. It's on the bottom part of that channel. So if it can hold that channel, 314, 311 is your pivot low right here. So it's looking pretty good. And then your energy play, it's just consolidating. And this also, to me, is a triangle consolidation. If you look at it right here, we don't know which direction it's going to go. My thought process is that this has a floor in it, and so that's why I sell puts against it every time it rips lower. If it comes out of that triangle consolidation, I will look for 106, 117 as support areas. If I get a snapback low on that, I will sell automatically, or I will sell puts automatically off of that. Let's change this to the 1 hour time frame charts. It's 8:59. You guys want to see service now? I'll give you one service now. So here we are. It's 9 o'clock. This is usually the time I let you guys go so that you can actually do your own work. Okay. Apple is sitting in the middle. Apple's sitting in the middle. Nothing to talk about there. Needs to break up above 274.50 or down below 267.67. In the middle right here on AMD. I'm trying to see, let's just see if we see something. Right here, Amazon. Amazon's going on my watch list. Amazon breaks up above 256 and shows me, and that's a snapback there as well. Supported off 20-period moving average. Amazon is on the watch list. Let's see what else is on the watch list. Bloom Energy. Bloom Energy has a very wide trading range, so be careful with Bloom Energy. But Bloom Energy looks like it wants to be a continuation play. However, if Bloom Energy wants to actually break down below that snapback low, if it wants to lose this trend line, if it wants to lose the 20-period moving average, you can play Bloom Energy down to the short side. It will make a very fast move down here into this 200, into this 210 range. So Bloom Energy, you could put Bloom Energy on your list if you like trading, if you like being very aggressive. Okay, so Coin. I think Coin looked really interesting on the 4-hour chart. Coin looks also interesting on this chart, where we got the 20-period moving up and pinching on the 212.50. That actually is a very good play right there. If it holds at 212.50, that's bullish. We've got a snapback low at 214, snapback high at 214.84. If it carries that snapback, this is up onto the long side. So need to watch Coin. It could go to the long side, but you also got a very nice trend right now on Coin right here. So if it busts down below that, then you could have a quick walk down to the, probably down to the 50-period moving average right over here, 207. Nothing to talk about. GDX is down in the middle. I don't see anything to play on that. Nothing to talk about Google. I like Hood. I like Hood, guys. Hood can go on your watch list, 93.5, 92.5. You also got a trend line break on that. You could actually play that to the lower side. I would actually think about it as being something like this as far as Hood goes, but it depends. Let's see what the market does. The market is going to drive the next behavior. The rest of these are all in the middle except for NVIDIA. Look at NVIDIA continuing to push the top. NVIDIA just seems to want to go longer. So NVIDIA over 202.50 is a long. However, we could see NVIDIA pull back to this snapback around 202, and then you also have 50 period at 200. Around 201 actually on NVIDIA. If you're looking for a short, looks like silver wants to break down below, but you know that a lot of times the regular hour market people, they actually like to mess with us. So a break up above that trend line and you could go long on silver. Silver looks like you could put it on a watch list because it is consolidating right here in this area right here. It looks like it's wanting to make a move. Same thing with Oracle. Oracle has a very nice consolidation, and it has a consolidation above this snapback high, and it has that 20-period moving average. So the next, from 179, the next pivot is 185, so it has room to run. I love that. Middle of the range, SPY, nothing to talk about. Middle of the range, Tesla, nothing to talk about at this time. Middle range, TSM. Got a snapback low on Visa right here. That's something to pay attention to. 312.50, 313.50. A lot of price action in here in between the 312, 313 area. If it can hold support there, you might see it actually gravitate up here towards a little bit towards the high. You remember on the 4-hour time frame chart, it was having a change of character situation where it was actually moving higher. like more for a swing trade kind of a thing. USO looks like USO is kind of balancing up across the top. We have a gap down below, so that 119.50, it should fill down to 115 pretty quickly if it loses that gap. But this 119.50, 120 area has been very strong. So there's that on NVIDIA, on USO. It looks like it's really just waiting to see what happens. We also got a snapback high right here that it has not been able to break across. You got a pretty nice consolidation here. I'll definitely be putting USO on my watch list. I like this consolidation right here. 124.50 on the high, 119.50 on the low. Get out of that box, USO, and let's run. All right, what do we got now? We got, let's go over to the primary chart that I use, my multi-time frame chart. And we're going to look at service now. That's a great call, by the way, because you know what I didn't do is I didn't look at the IGV as a whole, and I wanted to do that with you guys. So here's your IGV as a whole. Let me just detach this gadget real quick. Actually, get rid of the background so you can see this. Take a snapshot if you do snapshots, okay? Because this actually does matter. All of these stocks are almost up. Almost all of them are up on the week when you look at it. And the ones that aren't up on the week are just slightly down. I think every single one of these stocks had a great week last week. So they're something to pay attention to. Right now, CrowdStrike and ServiceNow are actually leading the IGV. I believe this is where money is going into this sector right now. CRM has been very intriguing to me. Oracle is intriguing right now. ServiceNow, I do believe that's an intriguing play as well. Every single one of these. There's Microsoft. So pay attention to these. Put these, go ahead and chart these out. Use some of the principles that I've shown you guys. And maybe I'll actually just do a separate YouTube video. If you guys put in the chat that you'd like to see a separate YouTube video on the IGV, let me know. And I'll do a special takeout on the IGV. We'll see what's looking good and what's looking bad. But I won't do that until we figure out what's going on with the ceasefire, at least in the next couple of days. So I'll do that after Wednesday. But let me know in the chat if you want to see that. Looking at CRM, let's go ahead. We're on the weekly time frame chart right here. Let's go ahead and change my thing here. Looking on the weekly time frame chart, it broke down this. It broke out of this. It's not an impulsive breakout, guys. You really want to see a bigger candle than that. But this is just the beginning of the weekly breakout right here. But it broke this daily downtrend line, and then you can see on the 4-hour time frame chart right here. This is 4-hour right here, that it actually had a break above, but it was on a doji, and then it continued to actually. These two candles. If you put these two candles together along with that doji, along with this, you can maybe call that a breakout. It looks like it has a nice little bull flag started here on the 4-hour time frame chart. If we take a look here at the hourly, I think the hourly is going to give us our best indication of what's going on with this. If I draw this back out just a little bit, and then we take a look, we can look like we got ourselves a very nice uptrend right here. However, it's also a little bit of a bearish rising wedge at this time. So it just means that you're losing some momentum. Okay, so the momentum was very strong on the bottom, but you kind of, as they sold, it was actually losing momentum at the top. A lot of times what will end up happening out of that, and it's actually going nice and tight into that apex, which is what I like to see. What you're going to see is you're going to see something about like this. So here's the measurement that you look at, and then you take, I'm just going to eyeball this. You take that same about measurement, and it ends up being right about there. So that actually, it falls in line right there with your 50-period moving average. So your 50-period moving average is 98.6, 99 area. You also got a pivot there at the, that's actually a previous snapback was at the 99 area. It has a snapback high right now at 100.48, and you can see it reacted right off of that. It's probably going to break down out of this and come into this 99 area, and you can see that 99 area is also a pivot. So we got a snapback, and we got two pivots on that 99 area, and you got the 50-period moving average. So I think that if it pulls back into this zone right here, that's actually something to watch for along. Guys, that's all I have time for. That's all I have time for. We got, oh, look at that. We got a lot of people want the IGV request. You got it. I'm here for you guys. Guys, do me a favor, throw a like out there. Somebody put a comment on there. Let me know if you like it. Let me tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. I'm doing this. I do this for myself because I do it anyhow. But then I thought to myself, why not actually share with you guys? So I hope it's been helpful to you. All right, everybody. Be careful out there. The market's going to move really fast once we get this news. It's consolidating right now. This is like the weather. You can go and you can look at the weather forecast and you're at that place where they say, oh, yeah, you know what? Wait 5 minutes and the weather will change. You know, it's cloudy skies. There's a storm off on the horizon. Is that storm going to hit us or not? Pay attention to what you got. Always have a second game plan for your initial game plan, okay? Have a great day. Talk to you later.